The 1950s can be considered something of a golden age for operatic tenors. Legends like Gigli and Lauri Volpi were still singing. Stars like Björling and De Stefano were in their prime. And the stentorian tones of Delmonico and Vinay resounded through the great theaters of the world. So it is notable that in 1958, the Metropolitan Opera chose a young tenor from the Piedmont region of Italy to make his debut as Pinkerton in a new production of Madame Butterfly. That tenor was Eugenio Fernandi, whom we honor tonight.
E al giorno in cui mi sposerò con fere notte ad una vera
The critic of the New York Times would write of the ringing splendor of his phenomenally large voice. Opera buffs who were there still talk about his high C at the end of the duet with Antonietta Stella. Fernandi was born in Pisa, but grew up in Valperga, a small town on the outskirts of Turin. By the age of 19, he had begun studies at the Conservatory of Music in Turin. He went from there to Milan to study with the legendary Aureliano Pertile, who had been the first tenor of La Scala for nearly 20 years. The young singer paid for his lessons out of his wages as a mechanic at the nearby Fiat factory. After Pertile died in 1952, Fernandi entered a vocal contest whose judges included the revered conductors Arturo Toscanini and Victor de Sabata. From among 500 contestants, he was chosen to receive a scholarship to La Scala's Academy for Young Artists. While still at the Academy, Fernandi made his debut at La Scala itself in the world premiere of La Figlia del Diavolo, an opera by Virgilio Mortari that also provided the Italian debut of American mezzo Risa Stevens. Fernandi was quickly in demand by major opera houses throughout the world. Just 2 months later, he made his debut in Lisbon as the Duke in Rigoletto. Engagements followed in Europe and South Africa, and culminated in his debut at the Met. There he went on to sing 95 performances in 13 different roles. His colleagues in those years included some of the major singers and conductors of the day. Maria Callas, Renata Tebaldi, Licia Albanese, Leontine Price, Virginia Zeani, Leonard Warren, Robert Merrill, Tito Gobbi, Ettore Bastianini, Dimitri Mitropoulos, Eric Leinsdorf, Thomas Shippers. In New York and on tour, Fernandi was admired by press and public alike for the beauty of his voice, his striking 6'3" appearance, and his versatility in both lyric and spinto roles. He was featured on 7 broadcasts and took part in the Met premieres of 2 Verdi operas, Nabucco on opening night of the 1960-61 season, and I Vespri Siciliani in 1967. While his Met career flourished, Fernandi continued to sing in Europe. The same year as his Met debut, he was chosen by Herbert von Karajan to sing the lead role in Verdi's Don Carlo at the Salzburg Festival. His operatic repertoire grew to over 30 roles, including Faust, both in Gounod's opera as well as in Boito's Mefistofele, Cavaradossi in Tosca, Rodolfo in La Bohème, Riccardo in A Masked Ball, Sesto in Handel's Julius Caesar, Radames in Aida, Samson in Samson and Delilah. Fernandi was equally at home as symphony soloist and recitalist, and he appeared on television in Europe, South America, the United States, and Canada. His last performances with the Met were in 1971, and gradually his appearances on the opera stage gave way to more concert appearances. A man of deep religious faith, he often lifted his voice in churches, from Worcester, Massachusetts, all the way to the Vatican. For a time, he and his wife Gloria moved back to his homeland. But it was here in the United States that, suffering complications from surgery, Eugenio Fernandi died in August 1991. Given the breadth and success of his career, it's surprising that Fernandi left only one commercial recording, Turandot with Maria Callas. He completed a recital disc, but it was never released. Happily, though, in recent years, broadcasts with Fernandi from the Met, Salzburg, and Italian radio have become more widely available. At the end of this month, the town of Valperga will honor their native son by dedicating the city's theater and museum in Fernandi's name. In this way, young singers, like today's soloist Luigi Boccia, who appreciate and learn from the artists who preceded them, can understand the contribution of Eugenio Fernandi, a singer who dedicated himself to his craft, who thrilled and moved countless listeners across the globe, and through his training and the dignity of his approach, helped sustain the art form and create an enduring bridge from the past to the present. His place in the history of singing will not be forgotten.